Jamaican people need the People's National Party back in government with Mark Jefferson Golden as the Prime Minister and a top honorary set of people around me to run the country.
Good morning, all. Karen Cecilia here. This voice note is for the Jamaican voters, the PNP voters too. But all you Jamaican voters who didn't show up in 2016 and who didn't show up in 2020, and you're probably thinking of showing up in the next election cycle, this is particularly for you. Now, many Jamaicans follow American politics, and many Jamaicans abroad also follow American politics. I am addicted to it because I think that American politics is so much, it influences everything around the world, and that's my view. And so I think it's important for us to follow it and see what is going on. Anyway, I'm not going to be long on this. Many of you know Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was the man that most liberals blamed for the Iraq War and all the atrocities that took place therein and afterwards. So, you know Dick Cheney. Liz Cheney is his daughter. She's a former congresswoman from the state of Wyoming. The congressional seat that she had in Wyoming was his when he was in Congress many decades ago. Their conservative credentials within conservative America is on par with anything else. I mean, they are ultra-conservatives on environment, ultra-conservative on abortion rights, ultra-conservative on gun control, ultra-conservative on religious freedom. I mean, they are just way out there ultra-conservative. Most of us not in that field. But anyway, Liz Cheney lost her congressional seat. She lost she was primaried by a MAGA Republican because she was against Donald Trump trying to overturn the 2020 election. And she was so much against it that Nancy Pelosi named her to the January 6th committee. And she was a star on the January 6th committee. She basically rewrote the meaning of patriotism and honor and following in her father's footsteps. And I am guessing that based on the Cheney's history, that her father probably had something to do with the stance that she took, And she wrote this book, which is out now, called Oath and Honor. I'm going to get my copy. Don't get it yet. And she has been doing the media, doing the shows to promote her book. She was out on all the Sunday shows on Sunday. She was on Rachel Maddow last night. I think she was also on CBS Sunday. And she did all the Sunday shows. So I think this evening she also coming on Nicole Wallace, Deadline White House at about 4 o'clock for those of you who have MSNBC. And Liz Cheney is so conservative that when Rachel Maddow advertised that she was going to have Liz Cheney on, because Rachel Maddow only comes on a Monday night now. And when Rachel, ultra-liberal, way left, deep liberal, announced that she was going to interview Liz Cheney about the book and talk to her about her book, it was kind of very interesting. An interesting thing about it for me is that an ultra-conservative and an ultra-liberal can agree on something. It has never happened. Rachel Maddow wrote a book some time ago called Grit, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm right. The book was entirely about Dick Cheney, and it was not flattering to Dick Cheney. So that is how these two coming together is so significant, because Rachel has been hounding Dick Cheney for his views and his actions and all of that for years, decades, if even. So when she announced it, I said, well, I got to watch this, because, this is one for the books. And I never watched the CBS interview, I never watched the NBC, I never watched any of Liz Cheney's interview on the Sunday shows and all that she did. But I watched her on Rachel Maddow, and after I watched her on Rachel Maddow, I went and watched the CBS clip. And while she was very good at Rachel Maddow, there's something that she said on the CBS clip and the way she said it, which was more jarring for me. And I'm going to share that clip with you. Now, why does this matter to Jamaica? It matters to Jamaica because, as they used to say, if America cough, we catch a cold. That is still very much true. and whatever happens in the world does affect us because we have to trade and we have to export and we have to import and we have to have relationships and diplomatic relations with people. These things matter. So Liz Cheney was up and about against Donald Trump in about the whole trying to overthrow the election, trying to overthrow the government, trying to stay in power for a while. And what Liz has been saying since Sunday, talking about her book, is that the American people cannot make the mistake of electing Donald Trump, and she's going to do everything she can in her power. And this is where it is strange because she's sitting across from Rachel Maddow telling an ultra-liberal that this is what she's going to do. They're going to make sure that Donald Trump don't become president of the United States again. Why is that? She made a case. She said everything that he said he was going to do in 2016, he did it. And everything that he's now saying that he's going to do 2016 to 2020 was a dress rehearsal. Him now going to turn the whole thing over. And him not kidding. And people should not take him lightly. And Liz Cheney not talking about what Donald Trump was before he became a politician or all the things he had done. She has not even spoken once about his legal troubles because those things are things that are as a result of his loss in the 2020 elections. So here we are with this now. Forgive the noise, when the taxi man them drive them always loud. And Liz Cheney is saying that everything that he was not able to carry through fully between 2017 and 2020 and January 2021, he's going to do them now, and the American people should not allow him to do. In the clip that I'm sharing with you, you could replace Donald Trump's name with Mark Golding's name. And what you would get is this. The simple case that Liz Cheney is making is the same case we have been making to you, the Jamaican voters, in regards to Mark Golding. Now, we've been telling you where him come from, his heritage, where his forefathers came from, what they were doing, and his father's legacy, which was built up into a lie, and how we have exposed it. What Mark Golding has never done in his life is lead anything. He has never been the leader of a scout troop. He has never been the president or the chairperson of a youth group or a youth club or a community organization or a neighborhood watch. He has never led anything in his life. But then some PMP delegates decide that I'm going to make him lead the PMP. What has he done since he became leader of the PMP? He has torn down everything that the PMP constitution stands for. Everything. He has disrupted the natural process that the PMP normally follows in our own internal democracy, a process that has worked for us for 85 years, barring none. And he has turned that on its head. Why? For him to have control and for him to have power and for him to have the people around him that's going to ensure that he have that power and nobody not going to buck him. He has corrupted the NEC, the party executive, the corruption of the party executive, and I use in my own case to do that when the party executive met and decided I'm going to expel me, which is something that they don't have the right to do. The Constitution is clear on that. They don't have the right. The only power the executive has in that is to make a recommendation to the NEC. The NEC is the only body that have that power to expel me, and then it will either be ratified or overthrown at the PMP conference. They corrupted the executive body. They corrupted the executive body in more ways. Who sits on the executive bodies? Who sits on the executive body? Scammers, fraudsters, criminals, drug dealers. Those are Mark Golding's pick for the PMP executive. Why? Because they're going to follow his rule and his law. They're going to go against the Constitution and everything that we have stood for the last 85 years, just to appease him. So he corrupted that. He corrupted the constituency leaderships. How did he do that? One example. When he became leader, before he became leader, Lisa Hanna had 3 constituency councillors, 3 divisional councillors who announced their retirement and said they're not going to run back. Once Mark Golding won, they went to him and them said them change their mind, they're going to run back. Mark Golding, without consultation with the constituency executive, without consultation with Lisa Hanna, Let them run back. Tell them, yes, only can run back. Thwarting the Constitution, disrespecting the constituency organization. Now, he has corrupted the NEC, where ordinary PMP people can run and get a seat on the NEC because they are not yes men and yes women. And those who were even successful at one point and then they became vocal about things weren't going to be on it again. And I use an example of Paul Buchanan. Now, Paul Buchanan have his own issues, but Paul Buchanan sat on the NEC for the last, 2 years since Mark Golden has been leader. And then Paul Buchanan has always been a vocal comrade, and I suspect he has been vocal at the NEC. It's the only conclusion I can draw as to why them decide that they don't want him back on it and them kick him off. So there you go. He has corrupted the way constituency conduct their internal affairs. The constituency executive and the regions get together, set constituency conference, set selection process. The delegates get to weigh in. The party get to weigh in as well. It has always been like that, where the party can say, well, yes, delegates don't want X, but based on information we have, Y is better. But you know what? There was consultation. There was agreement. Everybody was involved. He has thrown that out where him and Dayton Campbell are making all the decisions as to who should represent the PMP people them at division and constituency levels. So he has corrupted that. He has corrupted the disciplinary process. He has corrupted the NEC. He has corrupted the executive. Now, if Mark Golden is the president, and he is, of an 85-year-old institution called the PMP, with a little over 40,000 members, and if him sit down there and corrupt all of that, to the extent where he has corrupted that part of the Constitution so much that they have now made it so that no member of the PMP can get up at annual conference in September and say, I nominate John Brown to be leader of the PMP. That is a right that has been in the PMP, a constitutional and democratic right of PMP people for the last 85 years. Well, 82 years before him come. Where you can get up at conference and nominate anybody you want. Where every year on the Saturday afternoon, every year that PJ was leader, every year somebody have to nominate him. And if somebody wanted to nominate somebody, they could. But every year that happened. Every year when Portia was. Every year when Michael was. Same thing with Peter Phillips. At the party NEC meeting, the first NEC meeting after conference, we also elect chairman, general secretary, and members to the executive. Every year that election takes place, barring none. Every year, where people can get up and nominate somebody. Paul Berg used to get up and run against PJ for chairman of the party for about 10 years. Nobody stopped him. Nobody's put any spokes in. Nobody put a clause in the Constitution that him can't. Nobody. But Mark Golden have now thrown that out and made himself Lord ruler of all, so nobody can challenge him. This is an 85-year-old organization with barely 40,000 members. And this is the organization that he was put in charge with no experience as him leading anything at all. They gave him that. And what he has done, he has turned it on its head. Now, should you, the Jamaican voters, should you, the voters of this country, ever give him that opportunity to hold the keys to this country, think of what he could do. And the only evidence you have of what he could do is what he has done and continues to do in the PMP. Look at the confusion going on all over the country, where people are selecting people and people are electing people. The group delegates and the PMP members at the grassroots level are electing people, and him and Dayton Campbell selecting people for them and telling them, with a business with Uno, these are the people that you have. The man has thrown out the entire PMP constitution just to ensure that he has ultimate power. Just to ensure that he has absolute control and absolute power. Now think about it, Jamaican people. I want you to think about it, Jamaican voters. If he would do that to just a small organization with 40,000 plus members, then you give him the keys to Jamaica House and think about what he could do to this country and the constitution of this country that holds up all our islands. The constitution is our barrier. It's our guardrail. It's what we fall back on when things rough. And you say, man, you have to hold a man constitutionally and democratically. All the things that we cherish, all the things that we love about Jamaica. Do you think you could stand up to Mark Golding? Remember, if he becomes Prime Minister, he will be named the next Governor General. If he becomes Prime Minister, he will name the next Commissioner of Police. If he becomes Prime Minister, he's going to name the next Chief of Staff of the Jamaica Defence Force. Now just think about, and he will certainly name the new, the next Paula Llewellyn position. What her position again? When it come back to me, I will tell you. Well, you know what her position is. As Chief Prosecutor of the country. And you just think about just those few positions. The Chief of Staff of the Jamaica Defence Force, the Commissioner of Police, the Chief Prosecuting Officer of the country, the position of Governor General. You just think of all of those little positions, those big positions that the Prime Minister has to sign off. And he's the person who's going to nominate those persons. And when the Prime Minister nominates somebody, nobody really ever go against them unless there's something extra, extravagant that we want to say, why this person is fit for it. And when you think about all of them something, you think if you want to give him the keys to this country, because him can use the Chief of Staff of the Jamaica Defence Force, the Commissioner of Police, him use them two positions. Who's going to be the Minister of National Security? He's probably going to name Peter Bunting it again. And we know what he did when he was Minister of National Security. Built up files and people, political people that him have beef with, people that him want to get rid of, like Philip Paulwell. Who I'm going to give Dayton Camp, who I'm going to put Dayton Camp in charge of. I want to think about it. Think about it. I want to listen to what Liz Cheney is saying about the dangers of having Donald Trump as president again. And I want you to just flip that name from Trump to Golding, and you think of the dangers that this country would be in should you, the Jamaican voters, should you be unwise to go to yourself and vote for him, or vote for the people that him name, all those consequences when placing people in. Because these are his people who are going to back him up. These are the people that's not going to give him any trouble. These are people who say, yes, boss. All right, I want him to go over there, so I'm going to look for the girl Carrot Cross. And I want him to send some police down to give her Pier Hill. Yes, boss. Think about that. Think about that. All the man in this country, all the women in this country that's against him, I'm going to seek revenge. I'm going to go on a revenge binge. How do we know that I'm going to seek revenge? Because that's what he did. That is what he's been doing since he became leader of the PNP. Acting out in revenge. You never support me. I don't want you in my party. If you're not on my train, go on about your business. I'm going to bring in all of my Tapanaris friend them, and them are going to run things. I'm going to just give them, make them run things. The man is telling you what he's going to do. Now it's up to you if you're going to listen. You have to listen. Jamaican people, don't listen to me. Listen to him. Listen to what he has said that he's going to do. Watch what he has done in the People's National Party. And that should tell you every single thing you need to know. That should tell you everything you need to know. If you want him naming the next Commissioner of Police, if you want him naming the next head of the Services Commission, if you want him naming the next Chief Justice to oversee our courts, if you want him naming all these nearly 200 government agencies and bodies, you want him name the head of these people, these organizations, these bodies and agencies. You want him to have the keys to Jamaica House. Look what he has done to the Constitution and the democratic ideals and process of the PNP. Just look at what he has done. The only time he has ever led anything in his life. It's the same, I'm making the same parallel between Trump. Trump never lead nothing in his life. He's from running a little mom and pop shop and him sell it to be a big business. Trump Tower, Trump business, Trump steak, Trump whiskey, Trump this, Trump champagne, Trump this, Trump plane, Trump this, Trump that. It's all a scam. It was all a scam that is now unraveling. It was all a big scam that the courts and the cases against Donald Trump is now unraveling. I bet Trump get up some days and wonder why the backside him took up himself about him to run for president. Because he could still be running that scam. It's all a scam. Just like Mark Golding got dig up him father and say him father contribute to Jamaica. That was a scam. Him father was a British agent who came down here with a whole piece of load of money to come infect poor people with polio and came here with the virus and test it out pound way and people dead and it finally worked. It was a scam. For the first time, he lead something. Him lead the Norman Manley Party and he has done everything in his power to tear down its democratic ideal. He has removed every guardrail against dictatorship. He has removed all of those and set himself up as the man with absolute power. You don't want to give him that power over Jamaica. I don't want to give him that power over Jamaica. And you should not want that either. He has interfered with every aspect of the PMP constitution to suit himself. Look around you and you see the government and you see the opposition and you have spokespersons in the opposition party. But everything that happens in this country is him alone talk about stuff. Why is that? Why don't you hear the spokesperson and is him Bunting alone talk? Occasionally they make Julian talk about finance. Because Julian in them orbit trying to be one of them. Have you ever heard the spokespersons being just out there talking about stuff without being managed by Mark Golding people? Damien Crawford in charge of education and he can't just get up and chat things about education. I mean, in the PMP, Mr. Michael Manley and PJ Patterson give you a spokesperson. Well, PJ never had the opportunity of spokespersons. But when you had spokespersons in the PMP, one of them out there talk about them portfolio because they understand what them portfolio is. Our spokesperson as it is now, spokespersons as it is now, can't just get up and talk so. They have to go to OLO first to get them instruction from Nikisha Burchell and the little Frowsy one where I hear wash and show her some clothes. Yeah, they have to talk with Angela Brownberg first. They can't just go talk about things. And then when they walk them out, them sound foolish. Why? Because them under siege. Them can't think for themselves. Them can't sit down with a team of people and say, all right, I have this portfolio. Let us get this team of people to work together to build this portfolio. Them can't do it. Because Mark and them people, them going to come down upon them and say, you shouldn't go to a setup, you should talk to it first. When they don't want to give this country to him. So I listen to Liz Cheney. And for those of you who have not watched any of the interviews, go and watch some of them. There are clips of the interviews. I believe that all the networks have YouTube channels. The Director of Public Prosecution, that's the position I was trying to remember. Paula Llewellyn. You try, imagine Mark naming the new Director of Prosecution. The new Director of Public Prosecution, Mark Golding, will name that person. The new Commissioner of Police, Mark Golding, will name that person. The new Head of the Judiciary, which would be the Chief Justice, Mark Golding would want to name that person too. The new Chief of Staff of Jamaica Defence Force, Mark Golding would want to name that person. If you give him the keys to this country, then you give him all of that power. And the only thing that I'm asking you to do as Jamaican voters is look what he has done to the PMP and use that as your example. Glaring. Go back and listen to everything him say. Him going to dig up dead voters. I'm going to dig up dead voters because them can't win. So they're going to dig up dead voters for corrupt the electoral process. Yeah? I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring in him top and Harris people them. Yeah. We're going to get wicked pan the man them because they're not going to want power. That's the Labour I'm talking. What do you mean by going to get wicked pan them? What does he mean by that? Is he going to start a political war? A jungle me represent. Them have my back. I will get wicked pan them. What does he mean by that? Those of you who have lived through the 80s, what does he mean by that? Is he going to pitch jungle against Tivoli? Ma pitch Jewsland against Olympic Way? What is he talking about? What is he saying that he's going to do? And then if you ask those questions and ask yourself them questions and don't just get up because you're upset about some things and go swap black dog for monkey because of the vex and upset about something. All right? So I had to listen to Liz Cheney and go find other clips of what she said. I'm sure all of them have a YouTube channel, so them probably put out clips on their YouTube channel. You can watch it. You know, she was on Morning Joe this morning talking about the very same thing, and the interview with Rachel was just good. But the CBS clip is the most jarring for me in what she said. So please listen and share this video, share this voice note, like it, and go subscribe to my channel. Please. God bless you. Stay safe, everyone, and keep your children safe.
You say Donald Trump, if he is reelected, it will be the end of the republic. What do you mean?
He's told us what he will do. People who say, well, if he's elected, it's not that dangerous because we have all of these checks and balances, don't fully understand the extent to which the Republicans in Congress today have been co-opted. One of the things that we see happening today is sort of a sleepwalking into dictatorship in the United States.
Donald Trump a fascist?
I think that he certainly is employing fascist techniques. I think that the tools that he's using are tools that we've seen used by authoritarians, fascists, tyrants around the world. You know, the things that he has said and done in some ways are so outrageous that we have become numb to them. What I believe is the cause of our time is that we not become numb, that we understand the warning signs, that we understand the danger, and that we ignore partisan politics to stop him.
I mean, this is just crazy stuff. You're Liz Cheney.
Right.
You were previously known as one of the most conservative members of Congress. You're the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, and you're saying it would be safer for the country if Republicans weren't in control of the House.
I think what we have seen is that you cannot count on this group of elected Republicans to uphold their oath to the Constitution. But what this moment also requires, Savannah, is that people come together across party lines, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, to stand for the Constitution. And that's why this election is so crucially important.
You write that. You say every one of us, Republican, Democrat, Independent, must work and vote together. So I'll put it to you very plainly. Will you vote for President Biden if Donald Trump is on the other side of the ticket?
We don't know yet who the nominees are going to be. Certainly, I hope that the Republicans don't nominate Donald Trump.
But if they do?
But I will never vote for Donald Trump, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that Donald Trump is defeated
including
in 2024.
a vote for Biden?
I will do whatever it takes.
This is a sliver of people who think, okay, I may not have loved Trump. I'm tired of his antics, but I'm worried about the border. I'm worried about crime. And I think Biden's too old. What do you say to them? They think that a Trump vote is, it'll end up being all right, maybe not pleasant, but it'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's a real problem. And I think that the challenge is to make sure that those people understand and recognize that a Trump vote is not acceptable. I hope that there are options and alternatives that reflect the important challenges that we're facing and that reflect leadership to meet those challenges. But that choice can never be Donald Trump, because a vote for Donald Trump may mean the last election that you ever get to vote in. And again, I don't say that lightly, and it I think is heartbreaking that that's where we are. But people have to recognize that a vote for Donald Trump is a vote against the Constitution.